It's time now for a look latest in local news and the news budget talks for both the City of Jesup and the Wayne County Board of Education Tuesday at their respective meetings. Both boards hoping to pass their fiscal year 25 budget before the end of the month, as their fiscal year budget runs from July 1st to June 30th of each year. At Tuesday's City Council meeting, good news is the board approved the second reading of their proposed budget on a unanimous 4-0 vote. Several commissioners not able to make Tuesday's meeting. The proposed city budget, $37,742,833, once again approved Tuesday with unanimous vote at City Hall 4-0. Not so much at the Wayne County Board of Education meeting, with Superintendent Dr. Kelly absent, Mrs. Collins sitting in and overseeing the meeting. The board had on their agenda approval of their fiscal year 25 budget, also a second hearing for the public to discuss the budget. But when it came time for a motion to pass the budget, it simply failed for a lack of a motion. So the board had to approve a spending resolution for the month of July with the hopes of passing a budget at their July 16th meeting. The board has hired former CFO Tony Williams to come in and oversee the school system's budget and spending. And several who spoke during public participation commended the board for that move and asked that the board simply table the vote on the budget until Tony Williams completes her work at the board meeting. And that's the decision that was made Tuesday by the Board of Education. Here was Chairman Bruce Harris encouraging the board to meet with Tony Williams and be ready to vote on a budget at their July meeting.
She was approved through TRS to work like 20 hours a week on our stuff because she works for other systems too. So she is working. She's working on it. We have talked with her about, because one of the things that we talked about the night that motion was made was the board having training and her training up, coming in and helping us understand as well. We have talked with her about that. We do need to look at some dates. I do know she had said that she was available on July the 8th or July the 11th. So here's what I would encourage us as a board to do. First of all, because of raises that we can't fulfill on a spending resolution. If we were to go into August with another spending resolution, now it's a whole different ballgame as far as it's going to affect all of our employees, not just our 12-month employees. July will affect our 12-month employees. Okay? August would affect all of them, almost all of them. So I want to encourage us as a board to let's get on this thing with Ms. Williams as quick as we can. I would like for us to do that training as soon as possible so that we as a board understand stuff that we're just not quite understanding. And that way we can move on. I would love to see us be ready in our July meeting, which I believe is the 16th. I would love to see us be ready July the 16th to move forward with this thing and let's go with it.
And once again, those comments of Chairman Bruce Harris. Before the lack of a motion, Chief Financial Officer R.J. Aldridge tried to explain to the board that his budget process is no different than it's been in the past several years.
The budget deficit can occur and can be still monitored and still watched, because it has been for the last 4 years that I've been here. And I could promise you, if I go and pull some financials, budgets from previous years, they were probably in the red as well when they were voted in on. But when it came down to the actual numbers at the end of the year, they were financially stable. The only time that occurred that I knowingly know of that didn't occur was around 2012 when the state drastically cut the QBE budget, and then the board had to furlough teachers for 10 days for a couple years, and then it dropped to 8 or 7, and then it went down to 5, and then it went back to 0. Well, during that entire time period, the millage rate was at 20 mills, the maximum amount that it could be for a Board of Education without state approval to go above. And it stayed there for several years. And then it finally made its way down to 18 mills, and it stayed there for several years and didn't do anything. And right now it's down to about 15.9 before we receive the new tax digest. When that happens, it has been the consensus of this board that there will be a rollback of that millage rate and it will go down. And that's the way this budget was planned and done, was on those figures for it to be rolled back, not to be raised to make up that difference. The only way this works is I manage to control the expenditures and we watch them on a monthly basis to make sure that that happens. Yes, sir, Mr. Gilbert.
And once again, those comments, Chief Financial Officer R.J. Aldridge. During public participation, the people who spoke questioned the need for a $6 million increase in the proposed budget, and they questioned the Wayne County Board of Education's statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances with the year ending June 30th, 2023, which shows the school system's fund balance dropped over $7 million in 1 year. The fund balance on July 1st, 2022 was $21,597,017.19. And on June 30th, 2023, was at $14,248,834.16. Board Member Todd Wise not happy with the figures and told why he's not in favor of the proposed budget.
The way I look at it, if you've got 12 million, and I take 6 million out this year, that gives me 6 million. I take 6 million out next year, that gives me 0. I'm operating on a 0 fund balance for no rainy days. How am I going to make that money back up? Sins of the past. In 2026, 2027, 2028, the millage rate's going to have to go up 18 to 20 mills in order for these taxpayers to have to make up for what we did wrong. That's in a nutshell. So we can continue to borrow, but unless there's going to be money to recoup and retain and repay, that budget's done. We're operating on a 0 balance, and there is no rainy days. I'm not throwing that at you. I'm just saying common sense prevails that we have got to be good stewards of money, or the taxpayers are going to reap what we did wrong. And I can't do that. In good conscience, I'm not going to make anybody pay for a mistake I'm going to make because we're not balancing our budget correctly. I'm sorry. Yield back to you, Mr. Chair.
Once again, those comments last night is Board Member Todd Wise. Chief Financial Officer R.J. Aldridge says that the report from the state doesn't include all the numbers. He says he sees a surplus of $1 million this year.
In actual expenditures, I currently have a $4.5 million surplus. I've got to finish the month of June, and I've got some financial stuff that we have to do. But it is our current plan in the current year that we will be at 0, worst case scenario, but we are projecting about a $1 million surplus in the FY24 budget. The financials, the actual numbers for this year.
That's less than 3%.
We budgeted in last year's budget. When we went through this whole process a year ago, we thought worst case scenario, we could lose $6 million. I'm telling you now, we're possibly going to have a profit of $1 million. That's how much swing in that, okay? So this budget is under the same premise that we've got the money in surplus in case a large amount of air conditioners go out or something happens. There is no intention that we should ever have to spend that much money. If we start going in that direction, just like you stated, there should be a check and balance. I'll pull financials and I'll look at financials every month in relation to my budget numbers every month. I will notice if transportation's amount is starting to get out of proportion because my report will let me know we're spending more than what we were allotting for. It's going to start letting me know. And you're right. At that point, we're going to have to start investigating. Why are we over? What can we do to try to help that situation? You're exactly correct when you say what you said. At some point, when something is going awry, somebody's got to make a note of it, and we got to bring it to the attention. In the current year, we are in great financial shape. So my budget said one thing, my actuals say another. The numbers you're looking at are the proposed budgets for next year.
Correct.
Okay,
So the
we were
proposal
able to
is
get to that surplus in the last 4 years. We had roughly, I think when I got here it was around $10 million, give or take, and we got that up as high as $17 or $18 million during the 4 years that I've been here in the fund balance. Okay, it was because of we got ESSER funds that came in that allowed us to be able to spend that money for certain things. You know, certain federal programs. There's things that have gone on and happened that have allowed that to happen. We still had to be frugal with our regular money, but we had other opportunities.
And once again, that's some of the discussion on Tuesday at the school board meeting during the budget. Again, we'll have more on the discussion tomorrow. No vote taken on the budget, so a spending resolution had to be approved by the board. That was for the month of July. They state, keep in mind that any pay raise from the state or local will not be able to be approved until a budget is approved. Once again, they hope to have the vote on the budget at their July 16th meeting. After the meeting with former CFO Tony Williams, who was hired by the board and was an advisor to the board about their budget and spending. We continue to follow the story as it develops. Also on the agenda, but tabled yesterday, was any discussion about the ag facility and ROTC facility. The advisors couldn't make Tuesday's meeting, so the item was tabled. We'll come back with more from the school board meeting and other news right after the word from our sponsor, the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Other news from the school board meeting Tuesday, students who completed the Georgia Youth Apprenticeship were recognized. The following students completed the program: Gracie Anderson, Lily Russell Carter, Jonathan Dennison, Ashley Johnson, Callie Miller, Anisha Moon, Macy Wilkerson, and Maddie Withrow. Again, all those students recognized at the board meeting. Personnel approved Tuesday after an executive session. Certified recommendation: Jocelyn Myra, Arthur Williams Middle School. Certified transfers: Elaine Dicker from Martha Ross Smith Elementary to Martha Puckett Middle School. Heather Stanfield from Scriven Elementary to Jesup Elementary. Certified resignations: Danae DeWeese, Arthur Williams Middle School. Aubrey L. Perkins, Martha Puckett Middle School. Classified recommendations: Lily Adams, Jesup Elementary. Anthony Forehand, Central Office Technology. Kayla Huffman, Arthur Williams Middle School. Audrey Lane, Jesup Elementary. Mark Miller, Central Office Technology. Crystal Thornton, Scriven Elementary. Classified resignations: Tammy Anderson, Jesup Elementary, and Valerie Merritt, Transportation. And we'll have more from the school board's budget discussion, more from the public participation for the meeting on Thursday's newscast. Board Member Todd Wise asking for an account of the $21 million in CARES Act money or COVID money that the school system received from the federal government. Again, all that tomorrow, plus one person in the public participation stating school system could save $176,000 per year by getting rid of the superintendent, whose salary is $166,000 a year, plus $10,000 in travel money. Again, all that on Thursday's newscast. In other news, the Wayne County Superior Court in session this week, and on Monday, the Honorable Judge Burt Guy on the bench. 35-year-old Wayne County resident Courtney Sellers pled guilty to first-degree arson, cruelty to children in the first degree, and insurance fraud in a plea deal. Received a 20-year sentence, with the first 5 to be served in prison. She has to pay $5,000 in restitution, State Farm Insurance. Sellers in court Monday admitted to the crimes, but told the judge that she was in a bad place after the death of a child back in 2022. She said she was on antidepressant medication and in a bad place when the crimes were committed. She did admit to the state's evidence that she compelled her stepchild to start the fire inside their home for insurance money on 2 separate occasions. Once again, she pleads guilty, will spend the first 5 years of the 20-year sentence in prison. In other news from the courtroom Monday, District Attorney Keith Higgins made good on his promise not to prosecute any case in which Wayne County Detective Brad Kickletter worked on. 3 drug cases in all processed Monday in court, and Sheriff Chuck Mosley says this is just the first of many that involved Brad Kickletter. District Attorney's statement reads as follows. It says, quote, "The evidence in these cases were discovered and seized through the execution of a search warrant that was obtained by the sworn statement of Deputy Brad Kickletter of the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. Deputy Kickletter has previously included a false statement in an indictment report, an incident report. He's also made false statements while testifying under oath at a preliminary hearing. He's included false statements in a search warrant application, and he has made false statements when interviewed by the GBI. For all these reasons, Deputy Kickletter is not a credible witness, and the state will not prosecute a criminal case that is based on his reliability and truthfulness." Again, that the statement in court Monday by District Attorney Keith Higgins explaining to Judge Burt Guy why he was requesting that the cases be null prost. WIFO News at the Keith Higgins press conference down in Camden County asked at that time if Brad Kickletter had lied under oath and lied to the GBI. Why has he not been charged? We continue to ask that question. The answer at the time of the press conference was the DA was giving the officer the benefit of the doubt that he may not have intentionally known that he lied. Sheriff Chuck Mosley continues to stand by his employee. He did acknowledge, however, that he's no longer working as a detective with the department. He's been assigned other duties, but he has never been reprimanded, never been suspended by the department, has not been charged by the district attorney, unlike former Jesup police officer Stephen Wright, who's been charged with perjury after his testimony in court, where he admitted on the witness stand that he lied to the GBI during his interview. Once again, Sheriff Mosley says a lot more cases will be thrown out as the district attorney is following through on his promise that any case that involved Detective Kickletter will not be prosecuted by the district attorney's office. Yet the officer, again, has not been charged and remains employed by the county sheriff's department. We'll be back with some final news notes after this word from our sponsor of the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Final notes news: Chamber of Commerce annual legacy dinner is set for tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. at the barn at Live Oak Ranch on Lanesbridge Road. The chamber says it's a sold-out event. Semi-formal attire. Again, it all takes place tomorrow night. They'll have the annual passing of the gavel from current President Mark Watson, incoming President Preston Groover, and announce the awards: the Ambassador of the Year, Small Business of the Year, Business Leader of the Year, the Excellence in Agriculture Award, and the Distinguished Service Award. And WIFO film will be on hand, have all the award winners for you on Friday's newscast. Again, all that Thursday, tomorrow at the barn on Lanesbridge Road. Again, it's a sold-out event. Chamber of Commerce ready for their event tomorrow night. City of Scriven gearing up for the big weekend. And on the fireworks show set for this Saturday evening. Again, best fireworks show in town. Again, all the activities get underway on Saturday, beginning with a 1-mile walk and 5K race at the Grace Community Center. Registration that Saturday morning at 7 a.m., then the walk and run at 8 a.m. To register, call Scriven City Hall at 579-2211, or again, be there Saturday morning at 7 a.m. for registration. Following that event, the grand opening of the Dollar General store at 10 a.m., located at 215 WJL Tire Street in Scriven. Then during the day, a full day of fun, vendors, music, and food, leading up to the fireworks show at dark on the fireworks Saturday evening, June 29th, in the city of Scriven. The weekend will kick off Friday evening as the local band Second Chance will again perform at the Scriven Fire Department from 8 to 10. This is a free event Friday night. Hot dogs and hamburgers will be sold by the Scriven Fire Department, with all proceeds going to the fire department. Again, that takes place on Friday, June 28th, and then Saturday, the big day in the city of Scriven leading up to the fireworks. Again, if you need more information or more details, call us Scriven City Hall at 912-579-2211. That'll do it for the latest in local news. Sports comes your way in a few minutes. Bob Morgan, have a great day.